1. Should we issue self-invoice for GST liability discharge on RCM, or GST can be discharged through expenses booking voucher? Answer. For RCM liabilities, tax invoice has to be issued on self-returns. 2. How to treat following transaction in GST? 1. Delivered supply shortages in transit. 2. Consumer gets less quantity and pays less. Answer. The supplier may issue credit note to the customer and adjust his liability. 3. Can we move construction material to builders on delivery challan and issue tax invoice post completion of activity? Answer. If the goods are the tools which are to be used for construction, then delivery challan should be issued. 4. All expenses like freight, transport, packaging which are charged in sales invoice are taxable in GST. How to charge in bill? Answer. All expenses will have to be included in the value and invoice needs to be issued accordingly. Please refer to section 15 of CGST Act and invoice rules. Question. A shop sells taxable and exempt products to the same person, B2C. Is it required to issue tax invoice and bill of supplies separately? Answer. In such a case, the person can issue one tax invoice for the taxable invoice and also declare exempted supply in the same invoice. Question. How will the credit or debit note from unregistered supplier be reported to GSTN and ITC claimed in the same? Answer. Like invoice, credit or debit notes on behalf of unregistered person will be given by registered person only. Further, GSTR2 provides for reporting of same by the recipient invoice. Question. Companies engaged in manufacturing of cement and power. Which rule to be referred for reversal of credit related to power business? Detailed rules for reversal of ITC when the supplier is providing exempted and non-exempted supplies have been provided in ITC rules. Question. In case of service supplied, should the credit be given to the state where it is billed or the state is rendered? Answer. Tax will be collected in the state from which the supply is made. The supplier will collect IGST and the recipient will take the IGST credit. Question. Can one state CGST be used to pay another state CGST? Answer. The CGST and SGST credit for a state can be utilized for payment of their respective CGST or SGST liabilities within the state for the same GST.I only. Question. How one can use SGST credit for the payment of IGST on other state? Answer. SGST credit can be used for payment of IGST liability under the same GST.I only. Question. Is SGST of Rajasthan charged by supplier or purchased from Rajasthan can be utilized for payment of SGST in Madhya Pradesh? Answer. SGST of one state cannot be utilized for discharging of output tax liability of another state. Question. Who will pay IGST when goods are produced from SEZ? Answer. Today, importer is paying both BCD and CVD. Such supply is treated as important and present producer of payment continues with the variation that IGST is levied in place of CVD. Question. When goods are being imported from SEZ, who will pay IGST? Answer. Such supply is treated as important and present procedure of payment of duty continues with the variation that IGST is levied in place of CVD. Question. Please clarify status of international export freight under GST as the same was exempt under POPS rules. Answer. It is zero rated in most countries. POS for transport of goods determinable in terms of section 12 subsection 8 or section 13 subsection 8 of IGST Act 2017 depending upon location of service provided or service receiver. Exports are treated as zero rated supplies. Question. How the sale and purchase of goods to and from SEZ will be treated? Will it be export or import? Answer. Supply to SEZs is zero rated supplies and supply by SEZ are treated as imports. Are there exemptions for SEZ? How will an SEZ transaction help in GST regime? Answer. Supplies to SEZs are zero rated supplies as defined in section 16 of IGST Act. Question. Present procedures have service tax on Nepal but no goods tax on Nepal. But with GST, what tax will be applied? The export procedure for Nepal would be same as that to other countries. Question. What duties will be levied on import of goods? Customs duty and cess as applicable plus IGST plus GST Compensation Cess? Answer. IGST and GST Compensation Cess shall be paid after adding all customs duty and customs cess to the value of imports and exports. Question. Suppose I am in composition scheme in GST. If I purchase goods from unregistered person, then GST will be paid to government by me or not? Answer. Yes, you will be liable to pay tax on reverse charge basis for supplies from unregistered person. Question. What will be the impact of GST on coal? Will the clean energy cess on coal go or will it stay? Answer. Clean environmental cess on coal will be replaced by GST Compensation Cess. Question. As an exporter, how do I ensure that my working capital is not blocked as refunds? Answer. Appropriate provisions have been made in the law by providing for grant of 90% refund on provisional basis within 7 days from filling of registration cess. Question. I have a pending export refund and service tax. What will happen? Answer. Refunds under earlier laws will be given under the respective laws only. Question. Will turnover of agents will be added to that of the principal for registration? Answer. No. Question. What if I am not liable to register under GST but I was registered under service tax? Answer. You can apply for cancellation of provisional ID on or before July 31st, 2017. Question. How long can I wait to register in GST? Answer. An unregistered person has 30 days to complete its registration formalities from its date of liability to obtain registration. Question. If a company in Maharashtra holds only one event in Delhi, will they have to register in Delhi? Will paying IGST from Maharashtra suffice? Answer. Only if you provide any supply from Delhi, you need to take registration in Delhi. Else, registration at Mumbai is sufficient. Question. Is there any concept of area-based exemption under GST? Answer. There will be no area-based exemptions in GST. Question. I am registered in TN and getting the service from unregistered dealer of AP. Should I take registration in AP to discharge GST under RCM? Answer. Any person who makes interstate taxable supply is required to take registration. Therefore, in this case, AP dealer shall take registration and pay tax. Question. Is separate registration required for trading and manufacturing by same entity in one state? Answer. There will be only one registration per state for all activities. Question. If I register voluntarily, though turnover is less than 20 lakhs, am I required to pay tax from first supply I make post-registration? Answer. Yes, you would be treated as a normal taxable person. Question. Is it correct that person dealing exclusively in nil-rated or exempt goods or service liable to register if turnover is less than 20 or 10 lakh? Answer. There is no liability of registration if the person is dealing with 100% exempt supplies. Question. If someone trades only 0% GST items like grains or pulses, then is it necessary to register for GST if the turnover exceeds 20 lakhs? A person dealing with 100% exempted supply is not liable to register irrespective of turnover. Question. I have ST number or individual name and have migrated to GST. I wish to transfer this on my proprietorship firm. Answer. This conversion may be done while filing Form REG-26 for converting provisional ID to final registration. Question. I have enrolled in GST but I forgot to enter SAC codes. What should I do? The status is migrated. Answer. The same can be filed while filing Form REG-26 for converting provisional ID to final registration. Question. I have migrated under GST but want to register as ISD. Whether I can apply now and what is the procedure? Answer. A separate and new registration is required for ISD. New registrations are being opened from 25th June 2017. Question. When is registration in other state required? Will giving service from Nasik to other state require registration in other state? Answer. If service are being provided from Nasik, then registration is required to be taken only in Maharashtra and IGST to be paid on interstate supplies. Question. Is an advocate providing interstate supply chargeable under reverse charge liable for registration? Answer. Exemption from registration has been provided to such suppliers who are making only those supplies on which recipient is liable to discharge GST under RCM. Question: if there are two SEZ units within same state, whether two registrations are required to be obtained? SEZs under same PAN in a state require one registration. Please see provision 2, Rule 8, subsection 1 of CGST rules. Question: whether aggregate turnover includes turnover of supplies on which tax is payable by the recipient under reverse charge? Answer: outward supplies on which tax is paid on reverse charge basis by the recipient will be included in the aggregate turnover of the supplier. Question: whether civil contractor doing projects in various states requires separate registration for all states or a single registration at state of head office will suffice? Answer: a supplier of service will have to register at the location from where he is supplying service. Question: not liable to tax as mentioned under section 23 of CGST means nil rated supply or abated value of supply. Answer: not liable to tax means supplies which is not leviable to tax under CGST or SGST or IGST Act. Please refer to definition under section 2 subsection 78 of the CGST Act. Question: whether trader of country liquor is required to migrate to GST from VAT as liquor is out of GST law? Answer: if the person is involved in 100% supply of goods which are not liable for GST, then no registration is required. Question: can we use provisional GSTIN or do we get new GSTIN? Can we start using provisional GSTIN till new one is issued? Answer: provisional GSTIN should be converted into final GSTIN within 90 days. Yes, provisional GSTIN can be used till final GSTIN is issued. PID and final GSTIN would be the same. Question: a taxable person's business is in many states. All supplies are below 10 lakhs. He makes an interstate supply from one state. Is he liable for registration? Answer: he is liable to register if this aggregate turnover is more than 20 lakhs or if he is engaged in interstate supplies. Question: what if the dealer migrated with wrong PAN as the status of the firm was changed from proprietorship to partnership? Answer: new registration would be required as partnership firm would have a new PAN. Question: does aggregate turnover include value of inward supplies received on which RCM is payable? Answer: refer section 2 subsection 6 of CGST Act. Aggregate turnover does not include value of inward supplies on which tax is payable on reverse charge basis.